Golf Papa Mike Romeo, this is Golf Charlie Oscar Hotel.
These pilots are doing things right. They're using their eyes to keep their airplanes well apart from each other, and they're in constant communication on the air-to-air frequency.
They're doing two things that we as pilots may not give a lot of conscious thought to, but they're two of the most important things that we do when we're flying. One is seeing. Seeing as opposed to looking, and hearing. Hearing as opposed to listening. Looking out a window is something we all do, but seeing is different. Seeing is not easy, it's hard work. It's one of the hardest skills to master. In fact, most mid-air collisions occur in good VFR weather because one pilot or the other did not see the other aircraft in time to prevent the collision. VFR flight means see and avoid, and there's a good way we can do that.
Develop a systematic way to scan all quadrants of the sky. Some pilots start at the front and then scan one side and then the other. Other pilots like to start from the left rear and work all the way around. It doesn't matter how you do it, as long as your scan is systematic, frequent, and covers the entire sky. Remember, too, that you have to move your head to see around windscreen posts and other obstructions. And you have to pause in each sector of the sky because a moving eye will miss things. It will look, but it may not see. And in today's randomly crowded skies, we must really see other aircraft before it is too late. A video was made by the Transportation Safety Board of Canada to recreate a mid-air collision between a Metroliner and Piper Navajo over northern Ontario in May of 1995. This computer simulation does not exactly represent what the pilots of the two aircraft saw, but illustrates the relative size of the aircraft in the pilot's field of vision in the second or so before the collision. It appears that the Navajo pilot saw the approaching Metro and banked left to avoid it. However, it was too late. Things happen fast in the air. The closing speed of these aircraft was estimated to be about 12 kilometers a minute. That's 720 kilometers per hour. So it should be obvious why we must always keep a sharp lookout to see and avoid. And the term see and avoid means just that. Actively avoid other aircraft. See and be seen is not enough. Since the invention of the radio, pilots have depended on their hearing in order to develop a mental picture of the surrounding airspace. For example, when approaching or departing an airport, we hear where the local traffic is and where it's going. And we use this information to visually locate it. We use correct radio terminology and phraseology so that towers, flight service stations, and other pilots know where to look for this latest voice on their frequency. We must let others know that we're there, and we must always be looking for them. In the simulated mid-air collision, the two aircraft were apparently on different radio frequencies and were unaware of their proximity to each other. Situations like that can't always be avoided, especially in a non-radar environment where some pilots are talking on an IFR frequency and others are talking on a VFR frequency. That's all the more reason to keep a sharp lookout. Unfortunately, positive control on radar has led to complacency, a feeling that ATC will alert us to any danger. ATC's first priority is to maintain separation between IFR traffic and IFR and known VFR traffic. If we're the VFR airplane, see and avoid still applies, because chances are we may not be monitoring the IFR frequency. Although we have to keep our ears working to make sure that we're hearing what's happening in the airspace around us, correct phraseology and outgoing radio communications is also important. Two common errors are omitting aircraft call signs and reading back what we expected to hear rather than what we actually heard. Pilots have acted on instructions meant for another aircraft, especially if they are anticipating a similar instruction.
So, look out, listen out, and speak out. Even if you may think there's no one else out there. The picture of the surrounding air that we build and share with others will help ensure that everyone has the big picture needed to keep the traffic flowing smoothly and, above all, safely. I'm Mike Dwyron, inviting you to return next week to fly with us through the Overcast.